They locked me out of my father's company. Until his will was finally read. People think being born into a powerful family means you start ahead of everyone else. They never tell you it also means you can be erased faster than anyone else. My father's company wasn't just a business. It was an institution in our city. Glass towers that reflected sunlight like they were built to remind people of power. Boardrooms where decisions shaped entire industries. And a reputation so strong that even competitors lowered their voices when they spoke about us. I was raised inside that world. Not outside it. Inside it. Before I tell you what happened next, please take a moment to like and subscribe to my channel, but only if this story resonates with you, and drop a comment where are you watching from, and what time is there. Since I was 19, I worked in that company like I had something to prove every single day. I didn't start in executive meetings or strategy rooms. I started in places nobody noticed, archiving departments, logistics tracking, auditing spreadsheets no one wanted to touch. My father made that clear from day one. If you ever want to lead this company, he said once, standing behind me while I corrected financial entries, you don't inherit it by name. You earn it by understanding it. So I believed him. And I lived by that. Years passed. I stopped counting promotions because I wasn't chasing titles, I was learning structure. I understood how supply chains failed before they failed. I could predict internal bottlenecks just by listening to department complaints. I fixed problems before they reached board level. Slowly, people started respecting me. Not because of my last name. Because I solved things. But somewhere along the way, the rules changed without anyone telling me. It started small. Emails I was copied on stopped arriving. Meetings I was accidentally removed from. Decisions made without my input. Then one morning, I walked into headquarters and noticed something strange. My access card didn't work. I assumed it was a system error. I tried again. Still nothing. The security guard, someone who used to greet me with a smile, avoided my eyes. "Sir," he said quietly, almost apologetically. "Your access has been temporarily suspended." I laughed. Not because it was funny. Because it felt impossible. Temporarily? I asked. By who? He hesitated. Then said the words that shifted everything, by executive order. I stood there for a moment, staring at the glass doors of the building I had worked in for years. Then I walked in anyway. No one stopped me. But no one welcomed me either. And when I reached the executive floor, I saw him. My younger brother. Sitting in my father's chair. Wearing confidence like it had always belonged to him. He looked up, smiled slightly, and said casually, "Oh. You weren't supposed to find out like this." That was the moment I understood. I hadn't been reassigned. I had been replaced. 3 days later, I received an official invitation. Not to resume my role. Not to discuss my position. But to attend a board meeting as an observer. No voting rights. No speaking rights unless permitted. Just a seat. A controlled presence. When I entered the boardroom, I immediately felt it. The shift. The room I used to help prepare felt different when you were no longer needed inside it. Executives avoided eye contact. Investors whispered instead of greeting me. And at the head of the table sat my father. Flanked by my brother. He didn't look at me at first. He just opened the meeting. "We are entering a new phase of leadership," he said calmly. "A necessary transition for global expansion." My brother followed immediately. His tone was polished. Practiced. Legacy alone cannot sustain growth. We need innovation. Speed. Fresh vision. I almost laughed at that. Fresh vision. From someone who had never built anything from the ground up. Slide after slide passed. Growth projections. Market restructuring. New leadership chart. And then I saw it. The chart. My name was missing. Completely. I leaned forward slightly. A senior board member noticed and quickly looked away. My father continued speaking as if nothing unusual had happened. This restructuring ensures stability. Then my brother added, and ensures continuity. That word hit differently. Continuity usually means inclusion. Not a replacement. I finally spoke. Not loudly. Just enough. What exactly am I looking at? I asked. The room went quiet. My father didn't answer immediately. My brother did. It's a transition plan, he said smoothly. You've been moved to advisory oversight. I tilted my head slightly. Advisory to what exactly? He smiled faintly. To the company's new direction. A pause. Then I stood up. Slowly. The room tightened instantly. I could feel it, everyone waiting to see if I would explode. But I didn't. Because I understood something at that moment. This wasn't a debate. It was a conclusion already written. So I said only one thing, good luck with it. And I walked out. No one stopped me. That was the second time I was erased without resistance. 2 weeks later, my father died. It was sudden. No illness. No warning. Just gone. The city didn't just lose a businessman. It lost the man who controlled half of its financial ecosystem. The house filled with visitors immediately. Executives. Lawyers. Board members. All wearing the same expression, controlled grief mixed with quiet calculation. Because everyone knew what came next. The will. I didn't want to go. But I received a message from the legal firm, all direct heirs must attend. So I went. The meeting room was smaller than I expected. Too small for the weight it carried. My mother sat quietly near the front. My brother sat beside her, confident but restless this time. And me. I sat at the far end again. Distance has become tradition. The lawyer entered. Opened the document. And began reading. At first, everything was predictable. Properties. Accounts. Shares. Divisions. My brother leaned forward slightly with every sentence, as if mentally calculating ownership. My mother didn't move. Neither did I. Then the lawyer paused. Looked up. And said, there is an additional clause. The room shifted instantly. My brother frowned. What clause? He asked quickly. The lawyer ignored him and continued reading. Final operational authority of the company is conditional. Silence. He turned the page. And then he said my name. Clearly. Deliberately. And everything changed. The lawyer adjusted his glasses. The deceased stipulated that full ownership transfer is contingent upon continuous operational involvement by a single heir for no less than 5 consecutive years. My brother leaned forward immediately. That's me, he said quickly. I was being trained for leadership for years, everyone knows that. The lawyer shook his head calmly. Training is not the same as operational execution. He turned another page. Records confirm only one individual has maintained uninterrupted operational responsibility. He looked directly at me. My stomach tightened slightly. Not because I didn't understand. But because I did. He continued, budget oversight. Crisis management. Department stabilization. Internal restructuring approvals. Vendor negotiations. All documented under one name. A pause. Then, that name is the legal successor. My brother stood up immediately. "This is absurd," he said loudly. He was just working under the system my father built. I was meant to lead it. The lawyer didn't react. Instead, he added one final sentence. "Intent does not override structure." That hit harder than anything else. My mother finally spoke. Her voice was quiet. "But, he never told us this." The lawyer nodded slightly. "He did." Then he opened another file. A handwritten note. Signed. My father's handwriting. The room went completely still. I didn't even need to read it to know what it said. Because suddenly, everything I had lived through made sense. The isolation. The removal. The quiet observation. It was never a removal. It was a test. My brother turned to me. For the first time, his confidence cracked. "This isn't fair," he said. I looked at him. Not with anger. Not with satisfaction. Just clarity. "No," I said quietly. "It's just final. I didn't take anything that day. It was already mine." I didn't argue. There was no need. The room slowly emptied after that. My brother left first. My mother stayed behind longer than anyone else. She didn't look at me when she spoke. "I didn't think he would choose this," she said quietly. I replied calmly. "He didn't choose me." A pause. Then I added, "He confirmed me." Outside the building, the city looked the same. But I didn't. Because for the first time, I wasn't trying to be seen inside it. I already was. And the silence that followed me this time wasn't rejected. It was recognition.